Hey friends, welcome back to Irini's Corner. Today we are crocheting together this glass or plastic jar cozy. This project is suitable for scrap yarns. So if you have any leftover of yarn and you're looking for a quick project to make, this project is suitable for that. I'm gonna be using acrylic yarn. I use acrylic yarn for this one as well, and I'm gonna be using acrylic yarn in the tutorial. However, if you have any other type of yarn, feel free to use it. Yeah, let's get started with that. All right, so I'm gonna be using acrylic yarn as I've mentioned and a 4mm hook. Now to begin, we're gonna start with a magic ring. So I'm gonna hold the end of my yarn on the non-dominant hand and wrap the yarn on my 2 fingers like so, and then wrap it one more time while doing letter X this way, and hold and secure the other end of my yarn. Turn my hand on the other side and insert the hook under the outer loop and above the inner loop. Pull the inner loop out, twist, and take everything off your fingers, and then with the yarn over and pull a loop. Now we have the magic ring ready. Now into that magic ring, we're gonna work 5 single crochet stitches. So we're gonna insert the hook into the ring, pull a loop, yarn over, and pull through the 2 loops. So here are the 5 single crochet stitches. This is for the first round. Now I'm gonna pull on the short end of the yarn to close my magic ring. Okay. Now I forgot to mention that we are going to work in the round, so we're not joining our circles. So we're gonna need a stitch marker to mark the beginning of each round. So I'm gonna grab my stitch marker because I forgot to bring it before recording, and I'll come back to you. I have my stitch marker here, and then we're gonna start working round number 2. So into the first stitch of the round, this one, and here you go. So into the first stitch, I'm gonna go with my hook and work 2 single crochet stitches. And before proceeding, we are going to place our stitch marker in the first of these 2. That's the first stitch for round 2. And I'm gonna continue working and increase into each stitch of the round. I'm gonna grab this tail to hide it as I work my stitches. So this is the end of round 2. We did 2 stitches into each stitch, so we made an increase, and by the end of round 2 we will have 10 stitches. Now we're ready to start round number 3, so I'm gonna remove my stitch marker, and into that first stitch I'm gonna be working 1 single crochet, and I'm still working around the end of my yarn to hide it as I go. So here's the first stitch of round 3. I'm gonna put back the stitch marker here, And then into the next stitch, I'm gonna be working an increase. So go into the stitch. There you go. And work an increase. So one, back into the same stitch, and two. And this is the repeat for this round. So we're working one single crochet followed by an increase in the following stitch. Here's one and two. One single crochet and then an increase. And by the end of round 3, we should have 15 stitches. Now we are ready to start round number 4. So into the first stitch, we're doing an increase. So 2 single crochet into the first stitch. And before we move any further, we're gonna put the stitch marker in the first of these 2. And then in the next 2 stitches, we're gonna do 1 single crochet into each. And we're gonna repeat this pattern again. So 2 single crochet and increase, followed by 1 single crochet and another single crochet. We're gonna do it again. So an increase, 2, so 2 in the same stitch, and then 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet. At the end of round 4, we should have 20 stitches. Now let's start round number 5. So into the first stitch, do 1 single crochet and place your stitch marker back into that stitch. And then into the next stitch, we're doing 1 single crochet. And then into the following stitch, we're doing an increase. And then in the following stitch, we're doing 1 single crochet. So the repeat for this pattern is 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, increase, and then 1 single crochet. So let's do it again. 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then an increase, and then 1 single crochet. One more time. 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, an increase, and then 1 single crochet. So here is the end of round 5, and at the end of round 5 we should have 25 stitches. Now to start round number 6, we're gonna start with an increase. Here is 1 and 2, and then place the marker in the first stitch of these 2, and then for the next 4 stitches we're doing 1 single crochet into each. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's do the repeat again. So an increase, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4. One more time, an increase, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's the end of round number 6, and we should have 30 stitches at the end of this round. All right, let's start round number 7. We're gonna start with 1 single crochet, put back the stitch marker, 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet. So for the first 3 stitches we're doing a single crochet into each, and then an increase, and then a single crochet for the next 2. Okay, let's repeat that again. So 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then an increase, and then a single crochet for the next 2 stitches. Let's repeat it one more time. 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then an increase, and then 1 single crochet and 1 single crochet. And this is the end of round 7. Now I know that the jar that I am working this cozy for is covered with 9 rounds, so I'm gonna work 2 more rounds. But again, the size of the base is gonna be dependent on the size of the jar or the object that you are trying to cover. Okay, let's start round number 8. So I'm gonna start with 1 single crochet, put the stitch marker into that stitch, and then work an increase, 2, and then for the next 5 stitches we're doing 1 single crochet into each. So the repeat for this pattern is 1 single crochet followed by increase, and then 5 single crochet for the next 5 stitches. So let's do it again. That's the first single crochet followed by an increase, and then 5 single crochet for the next 5 stitches. The end of round 8, and we should have 40 stitches at the end of this round. Now I'm gonna be working my last round for the base, so I'm gonna remove this. And for round number 9, we're gonna start with 1 single crochet. I'm gonna put my stitch marker back, and then 2 more single crochet, 2 and 3, and then an increase, so 1 and 2 into the same stitch, and then for the next 4 stitches we're doing a single crochet into each. 2, 3 and 4. So the repeat will be 1 single crochet for the next 3 stitches, and then an increase in 1 stitch, and then followed by a single crochet for the following 4 stitches. So let's repeat it. Here's 1 single crochet, 2, 3, and then an increase, and then 4 single crochet. I'm gonna repeat it one more time. So 1 single crochet for the first 3 stitches, followed by an increase, and then 1 single crochet for the next 4 stitches. And this is the end of our base, end of round number 9. We should have 45 stitches. Now let's look at our jar. So if we put this, so the base is a little bit larger than the base of the jar, because once we start pulling the sides up, it will curve a little bit. So the base, the crochet base, should be a little bit larger than the base that we are covering. All right, now we're gonna start working our way up. So we are done with this part right here, and then we're gonna start working our way up on the sides, and we're gonna do the first round to start building our pattern on it. Okay, so for the next round, which is round number 10, we're gonna be working in the back loop only of the stitches. So let's see what we are going to do. Okay, so the first thing before I start, I'm gonna go into that first stitch and do a slip stitch. Here we go. After we did that slip stitch, we're gonna chain one, and now we will be working in the back stitch only. So we're going into that same stitch where we did the slip stitch, and we're going under the back loop right here, and we're gonna do a single crochet into that back loop. Here we go. So again, we have the front loop and the back loop. So we go under the back loop, yarn over, pull a loop, yarn over, and go through the two loops. And we're gonna be working a single crochet into the back loop for the whole round. So at the end of round 10, we should have 45 single crochet stitches in the back loop. So after finishing round number 10, you will have a nice ridge being formed under the stitches of round 10. This is the effect of working in the back loop. Now at the end of round 10, we're gonna do an invisible join. So I'm gonna take my hook off from that side, and then I'm gonna insert it from the back. So this is the first stitch of the round. I'm gonna insert my hook from the back to the front. Here we go. This way under the V, and then I'm gonna pull that loop. So I'm gonna tighten it first this way, and then pull it backwards. This way the two sides are joined with an invisible join. All right, now for round number 11, I'm gonna pull my stitch a little bit to the height of a half double crochet, and then chain one. All right, and then for the first two stitches, I'm doing a half double into each. So here is one half double, two half double. I'm working under the V, so under both sides of the stitches. All right, next I'm gonna skip this stitch, and I'm gonna be working into the following, and I'll do a puff stitch. So yarn over, under the V of the stitch, yarn over and pull a loop, yarn over, back into the same stitch and pull a loop, yarn over, back into the same stitch and pull the final loop. Now we have 7 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all 7 loops at once. This is the first puff stitch. Now chain one, and we're gonna go into that same stitch and work another puff. So yarn over, pull a loop, yarn over, pull a loop, yarn over, pull a loop. 7 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 7. All right, skip the next stitch, and then we're gonna repeat what we did from the beginning. We're gonna do 2 half doubles like these, and then we're gonna do the puff stitches part. So skip the next stitch and then work a half double into the following, another half double in the following stitch, skip one stitch, and then start working the puff. 1, 2, 3. So we go into the stitch 3 times, and then we finish the puff stitch, then we chain 1, and we repeat the puff stitch into the same stitch again. 2, 3, and then finish it. Let's do it one more time. Skip the next stitch, into the following stitch, do a half double, another half double in the following stitch, and then skip one stitch and do a puff. 1, 2, 3. Yarn over and pull through all 7, and then chain 1, go back into the same stitch and repeat the puff. 1, 2, and 3. Yarn over and go through all 7. Okay, and keep repeating the 2 half doubles, skip 1, puff, chain 1, puff into the same stitch, skip 1 throughout the round until you reach the end of the round. Alright, so at the end of round 11, we should end the round with the puff stitches, and then we skip the last stitch, and then we do an invisible join to the first stitch of the round. So again, we insert the hook under the V of the first stitch from the back to the front this way, and then we pull that loop backwards. Okay, so this is the shape of our project right now, or our cozy. Okay, round 12 is the repeat that we are going to work for as many rows as we need until we reach the height of the cozy that needs to cover the object that we are working to cover. Okay, so I'm gonna pull my loop to the height of a half double, and then chain 1. Now around these 2 posts, we're gonna be working a front post double crochet. So I'm gonna yarn over, go around the post from the front, here's the first post, to the back, and then out on the front side, yarn over and pull a loop and pull it up, and then yarn over, go through 2 loops, and then yarn over and go through the 2 loops. All right, we're gonna repeat that again around the next post. Yarn over, around, insert the hook around the post from the front to the back, and then out on the front side again. Yarn over and pull a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over and go through 2. Okay, next I'm gonna skip the puff stitch, and remember we have a chain 1 here, chain 1 space between the 2 puffs. This is where I'm gonna be working my puff. So yarn over into the chain 1 space, pull a loop, yarn over into the chain 1 space, pull a loop, yarn over into the chain 1 space and pull a loop. 7 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 7 at once. Chain 1, go back into the same spot, the same space, and do another puff. And then finish your puff. Okay, so this is the repeat. 2 front posts and then the puff stitches. So here is the next post. I'm gonna do a front post double, another front post double, and then into the chain 1 space I'm gonna do my puff stitch, chain 1, and go back and do another puff stitch. Okay, and then we're gonna repeat the front posts again. So work your way around and finish this round, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. Now after finishing round 12, I did the invisible join, and then you can repeat round 12 to as many rows as you want. For this example that I have, I repeated it 10 rows. So round 12, I reached round 22, and then I started working a nice edging. So I'm gonna show you right now the edging that I did. So for the first 2 stitches, of course I chained 1 to begin my new round, and then for the first 2 stitches I'm gonna do a front post double. Okay, and then in the chain 1 space, instead of doing the puff stitches, I'm gonna work 3 half doubles. So here's 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm gonna go back around the post and do a front post double. And then into the chain 1 space, 3 half doubles. I'm gonna repeat this until we reach the end of the round. Okay, at the end of the round, I'm gonna do the invisible join, and then after finishing this round, we only have 1 more round to go. So chain 1, and then again we're gonna start with 2 front posts. Here is the first one and the second one, and then for the next 3 stitches, so these are the 3 half doubles that we did, into each of these stitches we're gonna work 2 half doubles, so we're doing an increase. So here's the first stitch. I'm gonna go in 1 and 2, and then into the next 1 and 2, and then into the third one, 1 and 2. Okay, and then we're gonna repeat it from the beginning again. So 2 front post double crochet, 1, and then another 1, and then 2 half doubles into each of the next 3 stitches. So here is 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2. All right, so continue working the last round to make the edging, and you should have something that looks like that. If you notice here, I have 2 shades of yellow because by the time I reached the height of the side, I was out of this yellow, and the only other shade of yellow that I had was this one. So I continued with this shade for the edging. So you can even do the same thing for this one. You can add a different shade, any different color for the edging, just to add a different finish for your object or your project. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed today's tutorial. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and until next time, take care and keep crocheting.